Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9 with some brand new images revealed. Yes, this is our Thursday night edition. And the good part about Thursday night is we always have a lot of action, a lot of excitement, good stuff to talk about. The bad part about Thursday night is we will not do another stream until Sunday morning at noon. So we got a couple days off, a chance to gather our thoughts. I want to send a super shout out just to all the people out there. The greatest forum that discusses The Walking Dead anywhere, because we do it live. Also, I see eBeach72 as another announcement. eBeach is our brand newest Patreon supporter. You can see him up there in the top left-hand corner. So thank you so much. Long-time subscriber, watches the channel, very involved, and now a sponsor of the channel as well. So thank you so much. We got some brand new images to talk about. And I know the first thing that is jumping off the screen at everybody is, when did Eugene turn into the Incredible Hulk? Oh my goodness. This picture popped up and we saw Eugene kind of stumbling along with the little cane, shovel thing, whatever he had, sliding down, huffing and puffing. Eugene looks like a badass here. I don't know what to tell you. He's bigger than Ezekiel. I know Ezekiel's, he's back about 6 or 7 feet, so it does give that impression. But we're not faking these guns. Eugene is a big dude. Eugene has been hitting the weights. This picture just kind of, wow, that's the first thing that I noticed. So we are going to go through the pictures. I've got some things that I think could be tidbits or hidden clues we'll talk about. Some things might surprise you. I did a little bit of investigative research and found a flaw with The Walking Dead. Maybe you guys can help me. It's the preliminary edition of it, but I was doing a little research on one of the pictures, and I couldn't find anything to validate that. I'll show you what I'm talking about in 1 minute. But this scene right here, I want to get out of the gates just talking about it a little bit, because the first thing that everybody probably sees is Eugene, right? I mean, he's a big dude, but then you see the windows are fully repaired. That's the sanctuary, and they're back up and running. And also, you've got Carol holding Eugene's hat. What's up with that? And Eugene has a gun and also has a clipboard. So the man is definitely in charge. So Eugene getting a little bit getting feisty here. I mean, what's up with Carol holding the dude's hat? And looks like they're getting ready for a little bit of a standoff here. I know somebody said maybe Eugene with the black hair could be riding the white horse. I'm going to go back and watch the trailer again. I don't know. I'm not willing to go out and make that kind of my ultimate theory at this point. I'll have to do a little bit more research. But it did look a little bigger and a little bit darker haired than Rick. So I'm not going to rule that possibility out. Maria, they've been working on his windows overtime. And Casey, I think Eugene could have buffed up. I think Josh could have buffed up before. But they wanted him to be, a little bit of a average and I guess a pushover. They didn't want him to kind of be buff and tough and all those things. But now that ties perfectly into what we talked about last night. Last night, at the very end of the stream, I mentioned, doesn't seem like that you got some of the weaker characters that live a little longer and some of the stronger characters die off. Well, they have transitioned. Eugene, no mullet, looking good and buffed up. And they took him from a more of a weaker character into one of the stronger characters. And I'm going to throw this question out to the group. Give me some examples of some of the other characters that you thought were a little bit weaker in the beginning that actually toughened up. That is not Sadiq. Those are probably a couple former saviors in the background. Carol, definitely one. So, God Howard says, did I see a Daryl beta theory? Let me go on the record of saying this. God Howard, I don't watch other YouTubers' theories. I know many of you do. I don't. And the reason I don't is because I don't want to be accused of jacking somebody else's ideas. So when we create something here, it is part of sort of my spontaneity and insanity and mixed with a lot of your thoughts, and we sort of create our own concoctions. But yeah, if you come in and say, hey, did you see such and such theory out there? Odds are I probably have not seen it. And I'm just being as transparent as I possibly can. Because theories are generated by YouTubers. Now, I will say there's probably a lot of other people, and there's a lot of periodicals out there that have taken some of our theories and published them. I've seen the Rick is the Cure theory out there multiple times after we talked about it, and several other things as well. I mean, they're even using Walker NATO after we coined it the very same night. It's all good. Jimmy's jamming, says Rosita's definitely toughened up. Eugene makes me think he's no longer her whipping boy. Jimmy, you bring up a very interesting thought here. How many people think that Eugene is trying to turn into the Abraham vision that Rosita fell in love with, and it's worked? Because we know in the comic book, Rosita and Eugene do get together. Has Eugene cut the mullet, toughened up, become more attracted to Rosita, and do you think that they will officially be involved in a relationship this season? A lot of people do. And we did see them walking down the street together in a little bit of trouble whenever the Whispers showed up. I know a lot of people are saying, no, come on, not Rosita, Eugene. But Eugene looks like a completely different person here. Jason, what's up? The mix is in the house. I do mean you're Rosita. Donna, why is that gross? Hold on. Donna Soward says, gross, I hope not. Gross for who? Gross for Rosita or gross for Eugene? Eugene is, dude is swole. I got to get a follow-up to that comment. You guys, too much Eugene hate out there. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. May be a totally different character. There you go, Cammy. Maybe he's growing up. Lisa says he's way too freaky. Tommy says he's hot. Drama King says, I'd get swole for Rosita too. See, there you go. All it takes is just the right amount of incentive. Eugene has incentive. See, the love of a good woman has totally changed Eugene. He is dedicated. Brando says looks like he does have a little Rambo, right? I like Terminator Eugene as well. All right, we got a couple more pictures. We will come back to this picture, but several things that I want to talk about tonight. So we're going to move on to the next chapter here, and this is going to be a little trip to Mrs. Ree Goes to Washington. So this picture is important for several different reasons. So we know that the group is running out of ammunition. They're running out of gasoline. Horses are a big part. And in the Smithsonian is this old Wild West wagon. And we've seen some of the pictures where they have to take it down, get it out. You know, they got to lower it down from the ceiling. If you guys have ever been to the Smithsonian, you know there's some old airplanes and stuff that are all around there. So they found something that's working. And I did circle a couple of the things. Carol and Maggie. Both holding something. Now, could be nothing. I just thought it was a little bit coincidental. Other people have weapons. Map. part of history. Any thoughts on this? Maybe I'm looking too far into it, and it's just, all right, Kills, yeah, they tore a map out of a 7-Eleven thing, and they had to find their way up there. But they are still carrying it through the Smithsonian. And it does look as if they're coming face to face with something. Walkers, probably. We saw some of the walkers. A little bit of a minor interruption. Picture in a map. Blueprints. Pages from Georgie's book. Possibility. Hey, you know, maybe Declaration, you know what? I shouldn't have even brought that up because now I'm going to get called out. Maybe a Declaration of Independence is like in the Library of Congress and not in the Smithsonian. Anyway, don't call me out on that. But it could be an historical document. Maybe it's something they wanted to take back as a keepsake because they're never going to be in Washington, D.C. again. And you know people are Googling that right now. LH Star says a list of things that they're looking for. That's a possibility. Shopping list, okay, I'll give you that. Just wanted to discuss it because I thought it was coincidental that both of them had it, and then just the background of the Smithsonian is really cool. What's up, Julia? And thanks for reporting for duty. We appreciate you being here tonight. Okay, just kind of store this, and we're going to move on to the next picture and get some dialogue working around this little gem. So, there you go. I'm not feeling the braids, so I know some of you earlier said, gross, Eugene. I think Eugene could do a little better. I think Eugene should set his sights on Jadis or Tara or, okay, I'm being facetious. Actually, Rosita could shave off all her hair. She would still be very good looking. However, that's not why I pulled this picture up. I have done every bit of research that I possibly could. This county does not exist. It is non-existent. I looked in Virginia. I looked in Maryland. I looked in Pennsylvania. I looked and said, you know what? Maybe they made a mistake and it's in Georgia. I spent 30 minutes trying to find counties that begin with the letter D and end in ESNE. The only county that even ends in the United States in ESNE is in Utah. So I'm really confused by this scene. Secondly, we'll talk a little bit about what Rosita could be writing. But maybe it's just a fictitious city they made up and they didn't want to deface government property, so they just had their own sign made. Okay, yeah, it could be the second time jump, but I don't think people are naming counties after the second time jump. It's not like there's a government. Come on, Shane. Yeah, maybe she's painting Beware, possibly. If you guys is Duquesne a county or a city, Stephen? I went through at least 100 counties in the United States that start with D. And the only one I could find it was even close was in Utah, and it was, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Was it Dutchnese or something like that? I think it was Duchesne. If you guys are from Utah, maybe you can help me out. Anyway, could not find it. All right. You know what? I'm going to look it up if you guys do Fresno. So it's a city, right? Is that what you guys are saying? Let's look up Dufresne County. I'm still not finding it. All right. Anyway, I don't want to monopolize the whole stream talking about whether this county exists or not. I see it as a city. I don't see it as a county. So regardless, this looks like, I thought when I initially saw it, it's probably some county in Georgia, and they just made a mistake, because they've done that a lot in the past. They had like, I don't know if you guys remember, I did a spoof video on it with the Kingdom, and the Kingdom had the school buses, and in the background you could see it was a local school district outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So it had nothing to do with Virginia, but they used like buses from Atlanta, and that was, there's been a lot of flaws. But, okay, if it is a county, and if it is up in Pennsylvania, then Rosita, I guess the reason why this sign was important is, where is she? You know, I want to know where she's at, what is she doing? I mean, first of all, if she does get up to Pennsylvania, it's a long-ass horse ride for her to go from Virginia to Pennsylvania, because it's about a 4-hour car drive. So I felt like it's just something they made up, like a city they made up. So it is relevant, but it doesn't seem to be practical. We'll get back to Rosita, her braids, and her painting skills a little bit later on. All right, here we go. Now, I know many of you are probably going to focus in on the budding relationship between Carol and Ezekiel. But to me, that looks like that horse in the background of the Captain Obvious Hotels.com commercial. You know, where he said, sorry, he can't talk because he's a little horse. Maybe you've seen the commercial. But no, the relationship has been, we saw them kind of snuggling by the fire. And this wasn't just, hey, you know, looking at each other. There's some hand holding and some hugging and some squeezing. Definitely love. What is love? Daryl, don't hurt me no more. This is going to be a complicated situation, because Daryl is not in favor of this. But Carol does have the right to be happy, and, you know, her and Ezekiel it's been a budding relationship. It's been growing. But I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a love triangle. It's going to be a problem later on. So, let's get ahead of ourselves here. How does this end? Are we going to see Carol happy and then go through the misery of losing somebody that she cares about? And Daryl's going to, you know, be the eternal support mechanism for her? Or will it be the other way? Will Carol be the one to exit the show? And Ezekiel will have to deal with the pain of losing once again, like when he had to deal with losing Shiva. Sergeant Chosen One says, sorry to all the shippers out there, Ezekiel will die. Yeah, I don't think this is going to last a long period of time. Let me just say this, okay? As soon as you think Carol can't die, she can. Look, even Julie's like, no, Carol, no, can't happen. That's what Walking Dead does to you. As soon as you, and look, Deborah Moon, Carol can't leave. Yeah, you guys said that about Abraham too. And you said it about Sasha. And you said it about Carl. And you said it about Rick. Anybody can leave. Epic Army says he's so dead it's not even funny. Because we think he's dead because that's what the comics suggest. That he'll die at some point. But Carol's living on borrowed time. Look, there's big three here. And it's all good. Lisa, Carol can be your favorite. But Carol in the comic was suicidal, and she died at the prison. Daryl never existed. And Morgan was dead before All Out War. So 3 characters right now that people think are invincible, Carol, Morgan, and Daryl, at this point in the comic either didn't exist or were already dead. And it just always confuses me when we see it and we're like, okay, they just killed this person. And then 2 or 3 months later, we say, oh, they can't die. They're too popular. There's no way that person's going to die. It doesn't make any sense. And then what happens? They die. Patrick W. says Ezekiel followed by Carol's comic death. It's going to be hard for Carol to go back to the prison and die. The thing that we should know is that the show is trying to get away from the comic. So we got to stop hanging on to the comic story. It's a good question. Samantha W. says, Kills, can they really afford to lose a big character? It was a pretty good debate we had last night talking about death mistakes, I thought. So much has changed, no doubt. The purpose of the zombie apocalypse, the lesson that we learn from this is happiness is a ticking time bomb. They can't leave anybody too happy for too long. There's these moral stories and you learn from it. And then there's the rude awakening. There's the reality that the world's just going to crap, and everywhere you turn, zombies are trying to eat you. Grim Reaper has a question for me and says, Kills, what death would shock you the most? Daryl. A Daryl death would by far be the most shocking thing for me ever on The Walking Dead. At this point. Maybe not in a couple seasons. And I would say second to that would be a Rick death. Those would be the 2 most shocking things for me. Because they're gold mines. They're money makers. And killing off a money maker would just be very tough. It's funny. Dawn the Frank says Tara. Yeah, Tara dying anyway I think would be a shock because we thought it's been coming for so long. Lieutenant Ripley says, who should be the last one standing? It should be Rick. Rick should be the last one standing. That's easy. I knew drama was going to have a drama. I don't know if you believe it or it's just to kind of rile Steph up a little bit. All right, we're going to jump into another. But if there was any doubt whatsoever that this relationship is legit, I mean, we saw them cozy by the fire, and there was speculation. Then there were spoilers out there. The spoiler is that they get married. So it's official. And this does seem to reek of ultimate happiness. But it won't last. It never lasts. All right, let's get another picture in here. And we've got... This one didn't have a whole lot to work with. But I couldn't really zoom in a whole lot. I did want to circle the fact that Michonne is no weapon drawn. Rick, no weapon drawn here. Does look like a peaceful conversation. But Daryl's holding something, or he picked something up. At first I thought it could be a knife. But then the way he was kind of holding it between his ring finger and his middle finger, that's not the way you hold a knife. So when I saw this, I'm thinking like, oh, wait a minute. You know, Michonne and Rick are there to talk, and Daryl's got a weapon drawn. But no, it's either, it might be some piece of leather or something that he picked up. I don't know if it's even relevant. I wanted to analyze it. I want to put it up there for the group to discuss. But yeah, that would be kind of a weird way to hold a knife. And if I speculate a little bit more into this, okay, it could be a bandana, it could be something. Who do you think they're talking to? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say they're talking to Maggie, and Daryl happens to be there, and there's some questions being asked. They don't like the way she's doing things. I agree with that, Epic. I think Maggie's talking to them, and they're a little confused. They're like, well, now, I'm going to tie a spoiler into this. It's not a big spoiler. If you want to turn away, if you want to leave for a little bit, you can leave for 60 seconds or so. But one of the first spoilers that came out was that Maggie was intentionally holding back resources and trying to starve the people at the sanctuary. Now, Eugene appears to be at the sanctuary, so I think Michonne and Rick are sort of making their rounds. They're checking on doing the diplomatic stuff. Hey, how's things going over here? We're a little down. That shipment last week supposed to get here, didn't get here. Okay, well, we sent you some stuff. So I think that's a lot of what's happening. And Rick and Maggie want to go address it. Now, it could be the Gregory situation as well. But it's probably more likely that Maggie has been putting her foot down and taking care of her own a little bit more. Now, if it were Gregory still hanging from a tree, you do have Michonne with her head to the side a little bit. That would be kind of a sinister look on Daryl's face. So I think Michonne's saying, look, you can't starve these people out. Legend, not bad, not bad. Legend 83 says, I think Rick convinces Maggie to share, and then we see Rick the Sanctuary tell him he's going to help them get back on their feet. And then the guy says, God bless you, Rick Grimes. We played that over and over again, right? Possible, very possible. And, this is all we have to work with. So, I mean, we're looking for every clue, every little hint that we can possibly put in the video and talk about it. But it serves two purposes. One, it gives us some good fuel, I think, to get the next theory out there. But it also can serve to disprove some of the other things that we talked about. And we haven't really seen anything that has taken away from our theories as of yet. Rick could still live. We haven't seen anything incriminating that looks like Rick is going to die yet. If anything, the picture of the buff Eugene might have given a little bit more thought to the fact that Rick's not on that white horse. Eugene probably says, if you want to ride, then ride the white pony. Sorry. I'm full of music tonight. Let's get to the last one here. And this one is very... This has to be the hanging scene. There's a couple things that really stood out. One, it's very symbolic. They are, look, you got 3 people. They're like bowling pins. Maggie. Then you got 2. Then you got 3. And look at the shoulder space. And actually, there's somebody behind Maggie, too. You can barely see kind of the leg. So it's Maggie, then 3 people, then 3 people. But Maggie is at the forefront. So, and it looks dark. I think this has to be the official, Maggie's given the execution. Let him hang. Yep. Gregory's gone. And if we didn't know that as a spoiler, it would give us a lot more to talk about and a little bit more to debate, because it'd be like, what's going on? What's happening at dark? Who's storming, who's storming the hilltop? So, as we said before, I think we take what we know, we take a little bit of the tidbits of information, we put it together with the pictures start to come out, and this makes a lot of sense to me. So, nothing that I've heard that has disproved that theory. Gregory's just hanging around. He's hanging around in this town. That's a little Counting Crows reference. That's 3. We could turn this into a karaoke night if you want. A lot of places do have karaoke on Thursday nights, but we do Walking Dead streams. Lieutenant Ripley says, I want Gregory gone. After he was all over Simon that time saying he was tougher. Yeah, it's true. See, I told you guys last night when we were doing the stream, the reason I don't do karaoke is because of Sergeant Chosen One. Every time I get a good vibe and, we just want to kind of hang loose, there's always 1 or 2 of the loyal subscribers that say, look, we're here for Walking Dead. Just keep it Walking Dead. And that's why I stop. So if you guys want to voice your opinion of why we don't do karaoke, then there's your man right there. You take it up with Sergeant Chosen One. See what I just did there? I just kind of flipped it on you there, buddy. So Shane says, Gregory dies. Obvious question is, who's next? I don't know if Earl the blacksmith dies. I did not see that confirmed in a spoiler. Because Gregory's the one kind of behind it, and Earl's the one that tries to execute Maggie, from what I've heard. But I never heard confirmation if Earl dies or if it's just Gregory. Oh, I'm good, Sergeant. Sergeant Chosen One's like, kills. No, I'm fine. I'm worried about the rest of the army that you may have just isolated, because I got some people want to hear some vocals. All right, we're going to move it back to Walking Dead. I'm just kind of messing with you guys tonight. It's Thursday night. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. This is the last stream before Sunday, so you knew it was going to be a little bit more casual. And I think most of our loyal viewers know that if the stream's going to be an hour long, you're probably not going to get just Walking Dead stuff. It's probably going to be a whole lot of other stuff. So T-Ray says, Alexandria and Hilltop have their own rules. T-Ray, I think the problem is that neither one of them have rules. And they're trying to figure it out as they go. And that is really the purpose of Michonne. She wants to talk about what happens. She says the way we treat each other and what happens when we don't. And I think that's a big point of contention this season. And I am not at all going to disagree with that. So I got a super chat here. So if you guys are new to the stream, I had a couple people even in comments ask how you super chat. Down below the comments, there's an emoji, there's a little smiley face, and there's a dollar sign. So you basically just make a donation, and it highlights your chat, and then we stop what we're talking about, and we talk about your chat. So hopefully it answered the question. I know there were several people in the comments that had asked in yesterday's video. 1189 Paris says, wouldn't it be better to have both Carl and Lori in a dream sequence if Rick was going to die? Well, one, yes. And we have not gotten confirmation that Shane is in a dream sequence. Here's what happened. Shane was there. Shane was on set. John was on set. He was at Nick and Norman's. But there was not any video. There was not anything confirmed that he had filmed a scene. And people ran wild with it. So as far as what he did and what happened, that's not out there yet. So to answer your question, absolutely. That if it were a dream sequence, it would make more sense for it to be Lori and Carl. I mean, if Rick was going to die, the last thoughts that go through his mind should probably be his wife and his son, not Shane. Now, it doesn't mean that he hasn't filmed something. It doesn't mean that he's not involved. Viola says, why would he be there? There's a lot of reasons why he could be there. Could be there to celebrate somebody leaving the show. Could be there having dinner. Could be there because somebody to start a rumor. Could be there to film. I mean, I could probably give you 4 or 5 scenarios. And Walking Dead nerd, he might have filmed something. But from anything that I've seen, I've not gotten confirmation of when he could have filmed, what he could have filmed, and it was about the time when the script supposedly leaked, and that's where a theory became a strong rumor and almost became a spoiler. So it was episode 5. And episode 5 was supposedly Andy's last episode. And then the fake script was found. And the same week, John was at Nick and Norman's and spotted on set. So they said, Rick's struggling. He's surrounded by walkers. He sees Shane. Shane's talking to him. So now at this point, we're taking parts of stuff that's fake and we're putting with parts of stuff that's real. And somewhere in between might be what happened. Or none of it may have happened. But all of it didn't happen. That I can tell you. That it didn't happen exactly that way. There's a trick element to it. Randy, 8 or 9, something in the second half. I thought I saw 8, but I'm not positive. Okay, there you go. We got 3 different numbers. We got Kirby says 7, I said 8, and Donald the Frank said 9. And the white horse prop. And, I mean, Carrie, there is someone riding a white horse. So, I mean, we can't take away from the fact that that stuff is all there. There's someone with dark hair riding a horse. People thought it was Rick because of the horse prop and because of the script. But it may not have even been Rick. Logan, let me say this, and yeah, as I said, I know of Ronnie and Trev. I don't watch Ronnie and Trev. I know of Brian. I don't watch Brian. And it's not because I don't like them. I just don't have the time to really go in and analyze everybody else's theories that are out there. But let me answer your question. So if they think that Rick's going to die, I do know that initially Brandon at comicbook.com didn't think Rick was going to die, and then he started thinking Rick was going to die. And then the opposite was the Spoiling Dead's fan page initially thought Rick was going to die, and then they said, well, it's possible now that he doesn't die. So it really depends on what theories and your passion for it. I mean, there's some people that just feel like The Walking Dead is going to kill somebody regardless. And then there's going to be people that are going to say it's a bad business decision to do that. And I'm one of those people that's going to say it's a bad business decision. Now, I don't want people to come over here and watch our stream and only because we're optimistic about Rick if somebody else has a better theory. I mean, that's not what we're going for. But this channel is much, much more pro Walking Dead than some other people. Now, I don't want to completely contradict myself, but let me say this. I don't watch people out of habit. Now, has something ever popped up in my feed and I watched it and saw somebody crying and saying, The Walking Dead sucked and Scott Gimple's an idiot? And yes, I have. And I've seen people that are supposed Walking Dead fans cry about that for 30 minutes just to get attention. And then 2 days later put out a video of the greatest theory in the world. And, I just don't, I don't want to play that. It's like, if you're a fan, then just be a damn fan. Don't bash it and like it and bash it and like it just because you're playing on the emotions of the fans and you feel like the fans are pissed, so you need to do a video that's pissed just to get them to watch and agree, and then you realize that news came out and they're happy, and the next day you want to do something happy just to get them to watch and get the views. That's kind of, I don't know. It's very disloyal to the show. I like the show. I like the producers. I like the writers. I like the story. I don't always agree with everything they do, but I'm not going to come here and just crucify it every time they do something that I don't agree with. And to kind of put closure to that question, the people out there saying that Rick's going to die very well could be right. So what? If they are not going to get on a stream and say, oh my God, we were so wrong about it. I feel so stupid. We shouldn't have done this. All hail, the greatest YouTubers out there that predicted it and said somebody was going to die. We're going to talk about it. It ain't, it's not a a competition to see who can get an answer out there first. It's debate, and it's hopefully it's intellectual debate, and hopefully it's stimulating, and you guys like talking about it and coming up with different theories. I mean, we could, you know what? 3 months ago, we could say, hey, everybody, Rick's going to die. Let's stop doing streams for 4 months, and we'll find out in October. Where's the fun in that? And if you do think Rick's going to die, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. So the irony is, for some of those people that are hell-bent on the fact that Rick is going to die, I'm assuming they're still doing a heck of a lot of videos about what? How many different ways he's going to die? All right. Don't get me started on that, because you're just going to open up a can of worms that... So Epic, I don't know if that's an attempt at a confession. So it's all right then if Rick dies, right? No, I don't think it's all right if Rick dies. I won't stop watching the show if Rick dies. I think it's a bad move because I cannot think of a scenario that makes sense for Rick dying. And I'm already thinking about what the reaction video is going to be like and how upset people are going to be if that narrative plays out. And that's the part that's a little bit uncomfortable for me, I guess, is thinking about the reaction and how I'm going to kind of quell that and have a stream and talk about, even though we just saw it happen, and I feel like it's a mistake, it's not good. It wouldn't be one of those streams when we get together and say, yeah, whoo, that was cool. Did you see the way Rick went out? That was like a blaze of glory. That was awesome. I could cue up a Bon Jovi song, Blaze of Glory, right now, and then that would be our fourth one, but I'm not going to do that. I got a super chat. I'm going to get back to that because I do want to talk about that in a couple seconds. So, Crystal Gore says, Judith is bit. And she could live since she was born after. Rick sees Shane in his mind, begging to take her, and then the chopper. I'm very well okay with that because I do think that I feel like Judith, Rick, and the chopper are all related. I feel that. I've not seen anything that disproves that, debunks that, if debunks the word everybody wants to use these days. All right, bye, Rosanna. Really? Here's the deal. Let me say this to you, especially Rosanna, because that was extremely rude. If you don't want to be in the chat, if you don't like the chat, then quietly exit. And don't make an ass out of yourself on the way out the door. How about that? Have a little bit of dignity and a little bit of class. But to say something rude and kind of take a shot and then leave, just leave. Really. I'm going to be, one or two less people that is going to be an asshat in this chat, and losing one or two people is only going to strengthen the rest of this group. All right, so I'm going to get back to kind of, I think, Epic's point. And if it does go down that way, something could happen next week that could completely change that. Here's something that could happen that could change that. Crystal, we could see, or we could get photos of Judith. Of these photos that were just posted, we have not gotten any photos of Judith after Rick leaves, or that we think would happen after Rick leaves. So I still think everything is in play. Now, if we see Michonne and Judith after the time skip, then we're really going to have to rethink this Rick dying or Judith getting bit scenario. But I think you're good with that at this point. I'm going to follow up with that too, Epic, and I think that's a very good question. Do I think that the possibility of Rick dying overshadows the fact the story is changing and the Whisperer? I think it takes precedence over everything else that's going on in the show. Which is another reason why I think it would be smarter of the writers to give hope and to give a possibility of him being heard from or something happening again in the future. So, and I know when we talked about this in a previous chat, we thought that a cliffhanger with Rick could take away from the Whisper story arc. But either way, you're going to take away from it, right? But which one is more permanent? I think Rick dying would be more permanent, and that would be a bigger distraction of transition to the next story. And I think if he just leaves or it's open-ended, then it would allow you to focus on the Whispers and still have some hope that Rick might come back and help at some point. I mean, just a thought. Not everybody agrees with that, but that's my personal opinion. DDA Ohio says, hey, Kills, can we have a discussion, one about past rumors and theories that were totally wrong, like the Morse Code theory? Yeah, that was wrong. And I was at the forefront of that one. But I will tell you, here's why I went big on the Morse Code theory. There were 3 things that I saw that really jumped out. 1, in Rick's house, he had a poster of Morse Code. Number 2, Daryl was twitching his fingers. And number 3, Daryl was blinking excessively. Now, let me also say, I was not the only person to get in on the Morse Code theory. But, oh man, I can probably give you tons of theories that we talked about that were absolutely wrong. But it doesn't undermine or take away from how much fun that I think we have doing it. And I still remember when I did the video, and I was very passionate about it. Steph, it was a long time ago. Kelly Taylor says, Michonne, Daryl, Judith, baby Gracie, baby Herschel at the very end, and a surprise baby to Michonne by Rick. Man, Kelly, you just want a ton of babies on this show. I think we're actually going to have less. I don't think there'll be a Michonne baby. I think that Maggie and Herschel leave, and I think that Rick and Judy leave. So I think the only baby that's going to be around is baby Gracie. Yeah, it was well in advance. So let me say this again, because I think it went under the radar a little bit. One of the reasons we do live streams, and if there's anything that I've said with the utmost serious with the 999 Army, when an episode finishes, and I know there's people out there that do this, I'm not trying to cut and paste and get the first video out there for everybody to watch. I would prefer to get our group together and talk about it and enjoy the conversation. But there are still people out there that I think it's a race. And it's a race, and it's who can get the video up the quickest and who can get the most videos up and who can be right first. And if that is the ultimate goal, then maybe somebody's going to win. But I'm not trying to win that. my ultimate goal is to hang out with this group and to enjoy the show and to dissect it and to hear some of your ideas and to sprinkle some of my ideas out there and see if we can't come up with something that makes a little bit of sense. And I thought last year is when that really, to me, it's when it really got fun. When we started, I think the Simon and Negan, when that started to unravel a little bit, that got fun for me because I started seeing things that many of you had predicted. And it's like, these are spoilers that weren't even out there because some of the spoilers had been cut off. And this were some of the things that we talked about a couple weeks. And it's like, yeah, I remember when such and such talked about that. So that to me is the real kind of enjoyment in what we do. So Amanda Goss says, hold on, I like this. I love this channel. I've never made the chat live, but I always watch the playback. So glad I made it tonight to join in. Well, thank you. And we're glad that you made it live too, because I know everybody's got busy schedules, and some people are here 4 or 5 nights a week, and that's awesome. I love you guys too. But I know people have lives, and they watch the movies, and they go to soccer practice, and they get up early for work, and some people are overseas. So many people watch the playback. But anytime we can get the whole group together, and you'll see in October, this house is packed. I mean, and I think that's, to go back to Epic's conversation from earlier, I don't know if Rick dies in episode 5, I don't know what that's going to look like, and I don't know what it's going to feel like, because there's going to be so much raw, unfiltered emotion in that stream. I'm going to be trying to address people and talk about what I like about the show and what we enjoyed and what we were right on. But how can you manage that stream when you're going to have several thousand people? And on a typical stream of reactions during Walking Dead, it's 12, 13, 1,400 people that are rotating in and out. So imagine if something epic like that happens and there's 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people, and 75 to 80% of them are pissed off. That's going to be tough. So I'm already thinking about, I hope that doesn't happen. So maybe some of my theories are wishful thinking. Some of them are from a business standpoint, and some of them are practicality. Casey says A is for Armageddon. Casey, I'm going to tell you, I still think I'm going to see A, B, and C. I think they're going to simplify it. It could be an abbreviation. It could stand for something, or it just could be to separate. Watch out for my triad, though. 3 rings. That's true, Paris. But here, Paris, I'm going to do this because we're coming up on an hour. And in this group, we've got some really awesome people, hardcore, loyal fans. So, and those of you watching the playback, leave it in the comments below. So, hypothetical. All right. Moderators, I'm going to ask the moderators just as a test. Don't block and don't ban over the next 2 minutes, okay? So this is out of several hundred loyal Walking Dead fans. All right, everybody, here you go. The ultimate test for everybody. Type whatever comes to mind, just so you can kind of get an idea. And imagine this times 20. All of us just watched episode 5. It just ended, and we're getting ready to do a live stream. and Rick just rode off on a white horse, was ripped off the horse, and was devoured by walkers. You all just watched that happen. How are you going to react to that? Exactly. All right. You can probably see some of the chats that aren't showing up right now. There you go. This is what I want you guys to get an idea. And now, if you magnify that by the realness, it is going to be devastation, anger. Scott Gimple, look at this. This is the softer, loving fans. This is the people I see every day. This doesn't even reach out to the people that are just going to jump in there just because they're going to be in beast mode. So, just wanted to do a little test for everybody. And in less important deaths, we've used it as a therapy session, and we sort of talked our way through it. I don't have the words. So that's part of the reason why I'm hoping that it's open-ended, because I don't know what I can tell this group to say, hey, just don't worry about it. Next week's going to be cool. We got the show. Story's going to come right back, because I'm going to watch, but 20% of me is going to be dreading that I got to watch the show without Rick. That's the realness to it, and that's the way it's all going to break down. So I got you. See, I've got some of the real reactions there, and I appreciate you guys kind of going along with that. But it'll even be worse. And I do agree, Epic. I think I would want to see what happens next, but there's still going to be a part that is going to be extremely broken. Yep. And I love that. Deborah Johnson says, I'll watch, but be sad every time I do. I don't know if I could have, I don't think I could have said it any better. But the writers know this, and the writers know those reactions, and they have the pulse of us. They know what we feel. They know what we think to a certain degree. And that's why I'm going to take a different approach than other people out there that are saying Rick's going to die, and it's The Walking Dead, and he has to die. I still feel like the writers have the opportunity to make it feel good and to breathe that little bit of life in us and to give us a little bit of hope. And that's what I got to hope for. All right, everybody, we have hit 1 hour and 2 minutes of straight, non-stop talk about The Walking Dead, about what could happen, about our reactions, about new images, about Eugene being buff like Buff Bagwell. We did a couple songs in there. We pissed off one of our subscribers that didn't like the chat. We've done it all. So I want to thank everybody for being here on this Thursday night. I absolutely appreciate everybody here. Thank you for taking the time, your interaction. Wished I could answer every single comment that is put up on there. But obviously it's a lot of stuff, and I try to do the best I can. I will see everybody here Sunday morning at noon if you're available. Don't skip church for a live stream, but if you are available, then jump in. We're going to do a what-if scenario. Then we'll do at 8 o'clock. We'll do our fear countdown. Then we'll do our reaction. And then next week is going to be a lot of the same of what we did this week. A lot of good conversation, bits and pieces, theories, spoilers, all mixed together. Once again, super special shout-out to all my patrons up there in the top left corner. Eric Beach, brand new patron subscriber. If you guys are interested and want to know a little bit more details behind the scenes, that's only available on Patreon, there's a link down below in the description. Also, there's a join button if you want nice green color and some emojis. You can see Walking Dead Nerd, Julia McGuire, Jimmy's Jammin'. You can sponsor through YouTube. And also, we'd love to have you guys join on our Walking Dead 909 Facebook page. There's some memes, some good chats. Facebook rolled out this conversation starter thing now, so it's more incentive to get over there and enjoy the chat and participate. And if you want to rock some gear for the 909 Army, then there's a link to that stuff down below too. There's my commercials. I saved all the commercials to the very end, and I'm completely out of breath. Also, make sure you guys like NATO. Hit that button over there if you had a good time and you're going to come back and join us and hang out with us from time to time. We'd appreciate that. If you're brand new, subscribe. And for everybody else, we've done the stream, we've done the commercials, we've done some of the shout-outs. The 999 Army Everybody's still here. Give me a quick 999 because I'm going to try to muster up enough breath just to get as many shout-outs as I possibly can. So here we go. I want to say what's up to Aaron Ann, also Mercedes Velasquez. Lisa, thank you so much. Had a good time. Anna Smith. Coma Drug, thank you. Patrick Ivers, Alicia James. Lieutenant Ripley, James Kelly, Phoenix Rising, Matt Burkett, Kimberly G, and we got 2 Kimberly Gs. We saw them both last night. Sam B, Samantha Coombs, DDA Ohio, Kelly Golan-Zinier, Madison Dickey, Delmarva 1971, Tammy Heitzman, Mitch Strew, Dawn of the Frank, Elbad Beat, thank you so much. Also, and I don't remember the guy's name, apparently we have a 999 Army in Puerto Rico. I saw one of the comments. I read almost every comment on YouTube when I get the time. I don't get a chance to respond to all of them. But apparently in other countries, they formed their own 999 Army. So we'd like to have you guys in our Facebook page as well. But, hey, more power to you. If you're overseas, set it up. We're international, so thank you. Northside Queen, appreciate you being here. Timothy Lamora, thank you so much. Gina Crockett, thank you. Really awesome seeing you. Pete M., Viola McGowan, thank you. Crystal Gore, all the super chatters as well. Thank you. Several people super chatted tonight. Love your comments. Love your interaction. Who else we got? We got Corporal Epic Army who says, oh, hold on. I got a special note from Corporal Epic Army. This just came in. He says, Kills, regardless of how much we've disagreed on past streams, I do want to say I think you're 100% correct that Charlie is not only the equivalent to Clementine, but I think she will be a much stronger and much more developed character. Once again, you were correct. So thank you so much for that confession, Epic Army. As always, just Fluff Salisbury, thank you so much. Maria Favada, God Howard, thank you. Who else we got here? Darth Huggles, Drama King, New York City, thank you. Only the people that are here every night are gonna get that. The people that are here once in a while, they're not gonna understand what I just read. Who else we got? Also my moderators. My moderators absolutely fantastic. Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. Would not be here without them. They do an amazing job. So thank you. Backfire 3851. I have no idea what all those symbols are. Alina something. It's best I can do. Julia Drums, thank you. Appreciate you. Above Ground Ruler, thanks. Maggie B, Melinda Kettler, Howling Wolf. Sergeant Chosen, why are you even apologizing? I took it strictly as a joke. Don't even sweat it, man. No apology needed. I'm thick-skinned. I'm not going to take it personal. Chosen One, if you don't like my karaoke, I have a cat that loves my voice. And will listen to any song that I sing. Shane Hassan, thanks for being here. Appreciate your interaction and good comments tonight, too. Janet C. What's up, Janet? Gabrielle Bloom, thank you. We'll see you Sunday, E-Beach. Thank you. At noon. Lieutenant Ripley says, I have a cowboy voice. You know what? You know why that is? Because I'm a cowboy, baby. There you go. See what you did? You gave me, that was like a perfect setup. You gave me a good cue there, Ripley. Who else we got? I missed a ton of shout-outs. If I ever miss you in a shout-out for whatever reason, just let me know. Either put it in the put it in the comments, send me a message on Kick, just say, Kills, the last 10 videos, you haven't said my name, because, you know, I want to get you guys as much involvement as possible. Thank you, Cammie. Appreciate you being here. Bumblebee Brown, B squared. Good to see you as well. Ron Burgundy, thank you, Ron. And Matt, I appreciate Matt Burkett. That comment says, 999, this has been great. It's the only place I can talk about The Walking Dead. Well, part of that, Matt, is because we got people that come in and they really want to interact and they really want to talk about your chat. And I know you've seen in some other places, some other streams where it's more about how you can criticize somebody or knock, their opinion or whatever. I think here, people disagree with what you say, but they do it in most cases in a respectful type of, it's kind of like, I can see your point, but what about this? As opposed to, hey, you idiot, just that stuff shouldn't be around. And we're weeding it out. I mean, you still have one or two that seep in, but for the most part, this group's been together for a long time. All right, everybody. Dawn by Frank, baptized. Who else we got? Probably a ton of other people. Once again, if I missed you, I sincerely apologize. Thank you so much. I will see you all at noon on Sunday. Peace.